Hi, I'm Nick.
Ho! And I am Christopher Walken. Hello!
And this is the PUDs Podcast?
And I am here, and I plan on doing the entirety.
Hey, that was supposed to be it.
Oh, I thought we had started already. That is my mistake. I'm sorry about that, Nicholas. Start again. Do it. Let's try again.
I'm Nick.
And I'm Josh.
And this is the PUDs Podcast. Alright, man, so what's up?
What's going on? I'm not Christopher Walken, by the way. This is Josh.
We thought he crashed the podcast.
Yeah. Nope, it's just me.
Yeah.
Just me.
Yeah.
Sorry.
For all of you that got excited because you thought Christopher Walken was crashing our podcast, we actually didn't get Christopher Walken.
How?
Or maybe we did. I'm not sure.
It's just me. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the PUDs Podcast.
Yeah, we're on episode 3 now, I think. 100 plus downloads now. Pretty stoked on that. I probably said stoked last time with the reception we got. But yeah, we're chugging away.
Yeah, thanks to everybody that keeps tuning in. We really do appreciate everybody that keeps tuning in. We appreciate it a lot. So thank you guys very much.
Yeah, of course. And today is a special day.
I guess.
Because it's actually Mr. Josh's birthday.
It is. It is my birthday. I turned 33 today, which feels like I'm 43, but that's just a me thing.
He looks like he's 23.
Nice. Yeah, I always have issue. I have a trouble with birthdays and spend like my entire life. Like when I was younger, I used to get depressed on my birthday and stuff like that because I think I just have a hard time like being celebrated for nothing. Like I've been alive for another year. Congratulations to me. Like if I did something awesome, like whether it be at work or whatever, sports, stuff like that, you get a trophy. Like that's something worth celebrating. But just being alive for a year, like I don't understand. I've just always had a hard time with it. But yeah, I do appreciate all my friends and family that have reached out and have wished me a happy birthday. I thank you guys for spending time with me on my birthday here today.
Yeah, of course, man. I would say I'm a little bit cynical with my birthdays as well. It's like hooray for basically another year of evolution.
Yeah,
like you making it this far.
You just been here for a year, like
it's not like we went through like World War II in Europe or something.
Yeah.
People are like, oh, we're still alive. It's kind of like we're just still kicking it. We're golfing today and went to a brewery for lunch.
Yeah, that was very fun. Yeah. Berkeley Brewery.
Yeah, shout out to Berkeley Brew Company.
Yeah, I got one of their painted ladies. One of their painted ladies over here. The cactus watermelon, delicious.
And you could say that his lady is now painted as well. Yeah,
she's definitely painted. But no, it's been a good birthday so far. So I do appreciate you guys being here and appreciate spending the time with me today.
Yeah, I appreciate the fact that you're willing to do an episode of the podcast on your birthday.
I'll do it every day of the week. Yeah. You already know that.
Oh yeah, I know. I'm well aware. So
you want to get into the scramble?
I think we should get into it. So what's new this week with you? What's going on?
It was a fun week. Busy week, you know.
Did you happen upon any sauna experiences?
No.
I'm sure everybody's curious about that.
Shockingly, haven't been back to the gym since then. What a shock. What a shock that is.
Shockingly, I haven't decided to go into sauna since then.
But no, so what did happen, and I don't know, and I'm going to preface this by saying, first of all, I love all animals, okay? Cats, dogs, gerbils, snakes. Like, I'm a fan of all animals.
Katydids.
What?
That's an animal.
What is that?
An insect? Okay, sorry. Just thought it'd be funny.
But we were like in JCPenney the other day, clothing store, like, and there's like a dog in the middle of the store barking at people like that it's walking by it. And I don't understand, and it happens everywhere. Like, people bring their dogs into all these places that dogs don't belong. And it just, I just don't get it, and it just blows my mind every time I see it. You're in Stop and Shop. There's dogs in the carriage. You're at the post office. There's dogs in people's purses and hoodies and stuff like that. Like, I get it. Some people need their dogs.
Yeah, of course. There's definitely the emotional support animal sort of realm of things.
Yeah. But those dogs are like legitimately licensed to do whatever.
Oh yeah,
if you're blind or you have seizures, things like that. Those dogs are with you to be able to alert you or help you. If
to help you carry out your life in your day to day.
But I don't understand why people walking around with the chihuahuas in purses, like in Stop and Shop, and it's just like I saw one shit on the floor in the post office. Like, why is that dog in there? First of all, the mailman and the dogs, that's enemies. Those guys are enemies. So don't bring that enemy into the other enemy's house. Like, you don't do that. But I just didn't understand it, and I'm like, it just baffles me that everywhere you go now, there's a dog in that store for whatever reason. And once again, I love dogs, I love all animals, but I just don't understand that connection and like that, like, you feel like you can't leave it at home to be...
Did the dog... I'm like curious, did the dog see like a sale in the newspaper and it was looking for like a new purse or something at JCPenney?
I have no idea, dude.
Also, JCPenney is like it reminds me of being a young kid, like 4 or 5, and going to like...
going up the escalators.
Yeah, going up an escalator into JCPenney. I didn't realize JCPenney was still a thing.
Yeah, I mean, probably not for long. The way that everything's going, but... Yeah, I just... Like I said, I just don't understand it, and maybe I never will. And if there is anybody that has an explanation for me or wants to, you can at me right at the PUDs Podcast. All right, at me on Twitter. Tell me why. Because I don't get it. I don't understand why people bring their dogs all over the place, and it's not well-behaved dogs like that are there for whatever medical reason.
It's always the chihuahua in a pocketbook that's looking to eat someone's face off,
barking at people and like pissing all over the apples and stuff. Like, I don't understand what they're doing. Like, so
I gotta take it back. Did you see a chihuahua actually pee on some apples?
No,
and stuff?
I didn't actually see that. Okay. But who knows?
It could. Theoretically, it could.
But still,
you're
in a supermarket. Like, that means all that food that's going to be consumed by people, and this dog's just walking around shedding its fur all over, whatever.
Yeah, just doing everything. It's kind of.
I don't know, man. Gross. I don't get it. I don't get it. Not one bit. But that's enough about that. If you want to at me, go ahead and at me. Tell me what you got to tell me about these dogs.
Feel free to come at them.
Yeah, come at me. But anyway, so what did you get up to this week?
So this past Friday was Good Friday. So with work, I had basically the afternoon off, and decided to take a half day in the morning. And since it's not winter anymore, not working on my New Hampshire 48 winter list anymore. Unfortunately, because it's no longer calendar winter, and talked about that way too much the last podcast and the specifics of it.
That's all right.
But anyways, starting to work on my New Hampshire 52 with a view list again. I was 37 out on that, so 37 onto 52. Was kind of scoping around, trying to see what the weather was like. The winds were looking pretty crazy, even though the weather looked really beautiful for the day. So after kind of doing some reconnaissance on some trail reports and trying to get to trailheads, ended up at Kearsarge North, which is around sort of the Conway area.
Another hike?
Yeah.
Another hike.
Another hike.
Oh, my goodness. You love it. But that's what you do. So.
Yeah, of course. I had the day off, so ended up kind of going up there, and just super beautiful day. Very mellow trail, really. Kind of winter to spring conditions. Had a really super cool fire tower at the top that I hung out for maybe like 2 hours at. It was just absolutely gorgeous, and had it to myself for probably like an hour and a half plus.
Yeah, I saw those pictures. I like those views a lot. I think I shared them on the Twitter.
Yeah.
No, on the Instagram.
On the Instagram.
On the gram. Yep. I shared those on the gram. So anybody that wants to see those views from the fire tower, beautiful views from Kearsarge.
Yeah, and I took a lot of time. Gonna be making another YouTube video of that. Did some like sort of third person shots with me walking through the woods, and got my little tripod out. Just kind of had a really fun day. I really enjoy kind of making films and trying to get some cool shots. And the weather super cooperated. It was just ridiculously cold wind chill outside. I think the higher summits forecast for Mount Washington was like 100-mile-per-hour winds with like a negative 20 wind chill or something crazy. So it was definitely a good day to do summits that are more like around 3,000 feet or so.
We love talking about the weather.
Yeah, we do all the time. The weather's a big part of life, man.
It is.
Especially in New England.
It happens every day.
Yeah. I mean, we've already had a couple days in the 90s already this year. And today,
it's been a crazy spring so far.
Oh man, it's been a wild spring.
Love it.
we got a lot of late season snow and stuff. But yeah, that was pretty much my Friday. Got up there, got down, hit 5 hours of basically a 5-hour ride home with a lot of traffic coming back from Conway. I hate Route 16. Sorry if you live in New Hampshire and you're late driving on Route 16 and think it's scenic. I really like the 93 side of New Hampshire. It's much easier to get home. And I'm still bitter about my drive home and how it took me an hour and a half longer than it should have. But
I hate driving.
Still a great day.
I hate driving. Ever since driving back and forth to Florida, 22 straight hours, like getting stuck in traffic in New York, I can't stand long drives.
Oh man, I've never done that drive down the East Coast.
Sucks.
I've driven to Virginia before, but I haven't driven to Florida like you have.
It sucks. Like, you have to plan. The hard part is, so you can plan to leave this area, like New England area, and get down there and miss all the traffic in New York, but it's so much harder to plan on the way back how to miss the traffic and get home at a good time.
Is it just because of the sort of the constraint where like you're trying to leave at a reasonable time to get home at a reasonable time?
Yeah.
Like you just have to eat it and like hit the traffic at some point.
You're not going to leave in the like middle of the night and start driving in the middle of the night.
You want to sleep, especially if you got like kids with you or something like that too.
Yeah, that's so. Ever since then, and like the time that happened to me was like my AC went out on my car. It's like the hottest day in the summer. Me and my buddy Adam driving through New York. We're taking turns the entire trip. Just one person driving, the other person napping, and then finally we get to New York. The AC stops. And it's like 150 degrees, and I've been eating cheddar cheese Chex Mix the entire ride. So now it's super hot, we're super sweaty, and it smells like cheddar cheese Chex Mix and ball sack. So, and then like it's just New York, and New York trying to get through New York sucks. Like, well, I think it sucks.
The New York City part of New York too. It's not upstate New York. It's like,
what is it?
It might as well be two different states.
What's the bridge?
The Tappan Zee Bridge?
Yeah, Tappan Zee Bridge or the George Washington Bridge. Like,
I don't know.
Oh my
They're just
Lord.
all awful.
What a nightmare.
Yeah.
What a nightmare that is.
Yeah, it's just not worth it. So today, before we were recording, actually, we got out for a little bit of golf, which is our first golf experience of the season this year.
Yeah.
Got out to Segregated Country Club here in Taunton. That's not too far from my house that I'm a member at.
Yeah. And I don't understand, like, I don't understand the whole private club or semi-private kind of public clubs, like, especially now where, like we talked about before, golf is kind of almost a dying sport for people our age or a little bit younger.
Yeah, for real, I feel like I'd even and Josh actually was a member at this club too for a while.
Yeah,
and I love Segi, and like it's been awesome going there. But it is interesting where it's like the for sure the age groups are like, I think we were by far, I think one time we looked and we were like the youngest people by like a solid 10-year buffer that were there.
I just don't understand. Like if you understand it's a dying sport, like today. So we had an issue today where you being the member booking a tee time at 9:45 in the morning. Oh, no, 9:30. Yeah, 9:30 in the morning, and they're giving you an issue about bringing guests. Well, yeah, I get it. You want to leave those tee times available for whatever members, but you are a member. You should still be able to bring whatever guest you want, because every single one of those guests, what is it, $60 a person?
Yeah, it's not like they're still getting their money off it. So it's a really, and I guess they basically have sort of a full bucket right now of people, really.
Yeah.
So.
But still, it's if you want to get people into golf, well, guess what? Anybody that wants to go play golf, especially like around our age or that has kids, like you don't want to spend your whole day, whatever, 12 o'clock till 4 or 5 o'clock golfing. Like, you want to go in early, get out,
play around and kind of go about your day.
Yeah, go spend your time with your family and your kid. So I just don't get why.
Yeah, the exclusion thing's interesting too, and it's like there's super exclusive clubs like in Point Judith and Rhode Island, and like there's these clubs like I've heard about but never even
Montauk.
I don't even know how you. Yeah, I mean Montauk. I mean for a while you could get on, but there's definitely these sort of just very exclusive places where it's definitely I mean, frankly, it's sort of a wealth gap thing that just happens where there's a club of people that decide that they're the only people that can play at this club.
But I understand that. I understand the exclusivity of a private club. Like, I understand that. Only members go play there. Great. But if you're a semi-private club...
Yeah, if you allow the public to get tee times off golf now or through other methods.
Right.
Yeah,
why not let a person that's a member bring their guests, take the $180 from those guests, and still... You're going to get the members already paid for the year. That's extra money in your pockets. And then people will go back to your golf course. I just don't get that, but...
Yeah, it does.
I'm also I'm not an economics major, so what do I know?
No, for sure. But
yeah, it was a good round. It was a good round.
Yeah, it's always rough getting out after sort of the spring or in the winter, and like when you first get out in the spring, it's tough sometimes, man. It's like you feel like you've never swung a golf club before, even though you were playing all last year, but it's been like a few months since you swung them before, and then then all of a sudden you find yourself on the second hole. And you hit like 5 or 6 balls into a pond because you're just really upset and frustrated and being maybe a little bit immature and frankly not realizing you should just step back and maybe just take a second or breath. I'm only thinking of myself in particular today.
It's the water. You did hit 5 balls into the water.
Frustratingly.
Yeah, just to be stubborn. Yeah. And the water is like that.
It's a significant pond, people. We're not talking like a puddle here. It is
a big pond.
It's a good 30 yards.
And I don't care if I don't care if it's a puddle on the ground. Like, I don't know why I have such a mental issue, like when I'm around the water and have to hit a shot even anywhere near the water. I have such a mental issue of like worrying about hitting into the water 9 times out of 10.
It really is a crazy phenomenon how it's funny because like physically challenging to hit it's not physically challenging to hit a golf shot over water. Like if you know you can hit your club over it in the distance, you have it. And this particular pond is not really that wide. It's not like we're not talking like you're hitting it across the Mississippi River or something like that. We're talking about you're just hitting it across like a 30 to maybe a 50 yard. I mean, we've had a lot of rain this winter and into the spring, so the pond's looking pretty full. There's some geese that look mockingly at you occasionally.
Yeah, but it's only, like you said, it's only, 50 feet wide? Like,
I was going to say 50 yards.
50 yards. I'm sorry.
Either way. Yeah, it could be. The thing is, though, it could still be 50 feet, and it'd still be just as bad.
It's just such a mental issue. Like, anytime around water, it's like, your knees start knocking a little bit, and you can hit the ball with whatever club you got. You can hit it 120, 130, 140 yards, no problem, but... you step up to that water and it just kind of
messes with you.
You freeze, like your back tightens. Like it's funny. Like, it happens every time.
Oh man, do I have enough club?
Yeah, it happens every single time. But I played such a good bad round.
No, you did today.
It's weird. Like I think I shot like a 104, which is not great by any means of the stretch of the imagination. But like I don't think I hit one good drive. I had a lot of like bad shots, but somehow like got lucky enough, and it happens sometimes playing golf, but I got lucky enough that
you have this, like, again, you're a naturally athletic person and you have great hand-eye coordination, which we talked about a little bit about how you and your wife are just like don't play you in any sort of like any of those sort of like games or whatever that involve hand-eye coordination. But even with golf, I think when you're around the greens scrambling and chipping and kind of doing that sort of thing, you're generally really good at that.
It's weird.
So you're just like your drive is like 150 yards right of like the fairway, and then you come back and you're like, what are you putting for? You're like, bogey.
Yeah.
I'm like, how the hell did that happen?
I don't know. I'll have like a great second shot, and then I'll like chip up, and I'm like, all right, I can really still make par, but then I'll 3-putt. I'll be 2 over on the hole.
You're just happy you were there and you could still make par.
Yeah, that's it. Just getting on, knowing that, hey, if I was actually good at this, I probably could make par right now. That's good enough for me.
Yeah, and it's always funny, too, that we talked about it a little bit, I think, in the first episode now, but the camaraderie where we were playing with my father-in-law, Tony, and my uncle, Paul.
Yeah. And
we're just a solid, that's kind of been our foursome.
Yeah. I love that for
insert your innuendos here.
Yeah, I love picking on your father-in-law.
He is a super great teacher, though, with all of us. I think that's part of the problem, though, is like we all have this. It's like he will tell you something one time, like a little thing about your swing, like you'll hit a frustratingly crappy shot,
Yeah.
And then I'll tell you one thing, like Paul had one today.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, just put it a little bit up in your stance. And then he hit it right on the green. And like, we almost all like, I think by this point too, we've had it happen so many times.
Yeah.
Because he's right and we know he's right, but like nobody's like, thanks, Tony, you're right. Like, we're all just like,
you just don't say anything because you don't want to give him any credit.
Yeah, because he'll be like, yeah, that worked, didn't it? And we're like, I don't know.
I secretly think he's making it up. He doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. But that's all right. I still love him. He's such a fun guy to golf with and be around.
It always helps our golf game. And I think one of the things we were going to chat about a little bit too is how sort of we both sort of got into golfing a little bit and kind of for anybody that's looking at, I mean, golf, like, all joking aside, it's a super fun sort of recreational activity, sport, whatever you kind of get out of it. It's really cool. It is frustratingly difficult, I think, compared to any other sort of sports I've ever played in my life. Played a lot of soccer growing up and stuff, and it's a totally different game in a lot of different ways. You have these archaic sort of irons you use to hit the ball, and it just seems like, I think the first time I remember picking up an iron, you're like, how the hell am I supposed to hit a ball with this thing?
It's so much like math and like angles and stuff like that. It really is.
It's funny. Like, you're always checking your yard. I mean, nowadays too, it's nice that you have your phone or watches and stuff where you can check your yardage to the green. So you're like how many times today you'll be like, how much do I have? Like, like 150, 170. And it's like, we're all fancy, even though we all technically suck.
I suck.
But it's funny. We'll be like, oh, well, you got 145 to the center, 157 at the back, kind of stuff like that. We'll throw around.
Yeah, but that's I mean, and where I like growing up, it was like golf is like an old man sport. Like, that was always, and I think that's kind of why golf probably started dying, is because
it definitely had. I mean, Tiger Woods, for pretty obvious reasons, helped out with sort of kind of their face value and marketing and whatnot.
Yeah.
Compared to the old white man sort of.
Yeah, so that's
thing in golf.
That's the thing is, like, it has like that bad reputation of, oh, you started playing golf, like, oh, what are you a grandpa now? Like, no, like I can't go out there, like, we talked about it before. I played basketball, I played football, I played baseball. Like, growing up, I would get all kinds of friends. We'd go out and do all that stuff. But eventually you get to an age where, well, I can't go and play pickup basketball anymore. Like, my ankles are in such bad shape. Like, I don't think I have any ligaments left in them. So it's like, I can't just go and do that. But playing golf is like, you can still play a competitive sport and you can still, like, it doesn't take such a toll on your body. Like, we walk around with the carts. We don't drive. We walk, and you get to play the game, and you get to get the exercise. And it's not like I have to play you and see who wins. It's you versus the hole. So the competitive factor is you are playing against yourself, basically trying to get it to the hole and whatever the par is. If it's par 4, you're trying to get it there in 4 shots, and that's the challenge. And it's not easy. There is a lot of math that goes into.
Yeah, it's literally putting a little tiny ball in a very small hole.
Yeah,
I know Robin Williams, way back in one of his stand-ups, had sort of the sketch of, like, joking about, like, we're just gonna hit like a tiny little ball across, like, fields in Scotland and try to get in, like, a gopher hole, because it literally, I mean, quite literally, that's actually not too dissimilar to what you're actually trying to do.
All right.
When you're golfing.
Right, and it's very hard because, like, whatever, basketball, you can pass down the court, you can, like, see what your jump shot, you can keep your elbow in, get your jump shot clean and things like that. But golf, it's like, I have no idea what I'm doing. I go out there and I swing, I hit the ball, it goes right. All right, I don't know why it went that way. Better luck next time, I guess. So it's tweaking those things and learning as you go and, like, challenging yourself. And I'm not I don't, like, before we tee off, I don't go to the driving range. I go in clean. I'm just going in there hoping for the best every round. Yeah. And then I just fix things as I go out there, because I don't want to. I already think too much as I'm playing. I don't want to think anymore of, oh, I went out there and I had a great round at the driving range, and now it's going to translate onto the course, because it doesn't always happen like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
But so for, like, beginners, I guess.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's like, I mean, I got into it purely because my father-in-law Tony really is a super avid golfer, and I think I was probably like 24 or 25ish at the time, and gosh, it seems, I can't believe I've been golfing that long, and I still am that bad at it. But yeah, that's life. But yeah, he gave me sort of a set of irons, and I remember going to the driving range a bunch, and, like, also making the mistake of just swinging too hard naturally, which is pretty normal thing to do. I remember
Yeah.
getting blisters, and like, if you shouldn't be getting blisters on your hands from hitting balls, like you shouldn't be doing that. But I kind of got into it like that. And how do you get into golf, Josh?
So actually, it's funny. Like, I think I was 22 or 23, and I always had like dabbled with it. Like, I wanted to try it because I would go to like Caddyshack and stuff like that, and go hit the driving range and whatever. And obviously, you have no idea.
Everybody always wants to just hit the long ball, so to speak, with a driver.
Chicks dig the long ball.
Chicks dig the long ball.
Chicks dig the long ball. So I was working at Tropical Smoothie Cafe in Fairhaven, and there was a guy there that had some clubs, and like he was one of the owners, and I went with him one time, and he showed me like how to swing a golf club and stuff like that. And basically, I was working with a couple guys, Zach, you met him once. Yep. And my buddy Sean, and they had clubs, and they were golfing, and they asked if I wanted to go, so we ended up going. And I remember like the first time ever going to like a Cushionate, and it's like you got to dress a certain way. I think maybe that's some of the daunting thing. And for anybody that's just starting out in golf, like, it sounds daunting, like all the rules and all this and all that.
It's really not, though.
Yeah, it's really not that bad. So you got to wear the polos. You got to wear some kind of...
No cargo pants or jeans or whatever.
Yeah, no jeans, no sweats, no basketball shorts. But, yeah, so you put on that attire, and then you go there, and everybody else is decked out in all their Titleist gear, and everybody's looking like professionals. So you get a little nervous, and I remember I was super nervous. So we're at a Cushionate, we're at hole 1. And I'm like, we're getting ready with the next group in line. I'm like starting to get real nervous. I'm like, I still don't know the rules of this game. I'm just out here trying to just have a good time and enjoy it. And then the guy's about to tee off, of course, decked out in all the Titleist gear and all that stuff. And 90 degrees right into the woods, like terrible tee shot, like right into the woods. And I'm like, okay. And then the next guy goes, same thing, hits it into the woods. And guy after that, all 4 of them have terrible tee shots. And then the anxiety kind of leaves. I'm like, I can do that.
Yeah, you realize, like, not everybody, even if they're decked out in Titleist gear or the latest clothing, it's very similar to other things. That there's other sports and other activities where people are decked out and they're not really necessarily that talented at the thing they're participating in.
But you hear about how hard it is and things like that, and you're like,
it really is pretty difficult, though. There's a pretty steep learning curve to the point where you can go out and play a course and enjoy it, I would say.
Yeah, but we went out there, and after that, it was kind of like the anxiety was gone. And then once you get out past the first couple holes and nobody's like breathing down your neck, and you're kind of just out there with your buddies, then it turns into, okay, this is just like an outing with my friends. Like, I can joke around, whatever, have some fun, play. Like, this isn't there's no stakes on the line, so whatever. If I want to pick up my ball and put it in the middle of the fairway and play it, like, I can do that. Like, there's no trophies here at the end of this this round.
Yeah, it's interesting because it is like a very, like, you look at it on paper and it seems like a very serious sport, but like when you get to know like clubs and even like Segi and stuff like that, like it's just people going out and having fun together. Like, it really is. You're wearing the golf shorts and the polos, like, of course, but it really is just people going out and having fun.
Yeah. So my recommendation to anybody that is interested in getting into golf and is looking to start doing that, like, go with somebody and just learn how to swing a golf club.
Yeah, I would say go to a driving range before you even start to go to a course.
Right.
Because unfortunately, and like, it still doesn't make sense to me, but even for a lot of public courses, like, to spend the $40 or $50 or 60 or 70 or whatever the heck it is.
Yeah.
Like, just go to a driving range, hit some balls first, and like get confident in sort of your swing and feeling. Like, once you can feel where the ball is going once you hit it, and you kind of have a feel for that, then you can probably go to a golf course and sort of do your thing. But
you don't need to go to this crazy course. Like, I loved, like, I cut my teeth at the par 3s, like the back 9 club in Lakeville.
Par 3s are super fun.
Yeah, I played a ton over there. And the first couple times you go there, like, I don't know nothing about golf at that point, so I'm like hitting driver 150 yard par 3. I'm like hitting my driver, and it's like, all right, eventually you start to learn, like,
Oh, yeah.
I don't need that.
It's crazy when I think of like I think I had a shot today. Like I know I was complaining to you. I kept hitting my sand wedge further than I normally do.
Yeah.
But I remember playing at Stony Lee in like Attleboro, and like hitting a 3 hybrid on like a 150-yard par 3. Yeah. And now to me that's like a 9 iron or something like that. But it's funny how your perspective changes the more you get into it.
Crazy, because you learn how to swing better.
Yeah, you learn how to actually get good contact with the ball, which is a big thing.
The more that you play, the better that you get. The better you get at it. So, and the more that you whatever. So the driving range is great, like to get your swing, but you don't know what it's going to look like until you go out there on a course. So I wouldn't go like in peak hours, especially if you're a little nervous about what you're going to do. Yeah. Try to find a course where you can get to in the afternoon where it might be slower and it might just be you and your buddies and you want to see what it's like and go try out whatever, using your wedges and things like that on actual grass and putting on an actual putting green. Like that's my recommendation. There's going to be anxiety, but it's not going to go away until you actually go out and play it. And guess what? It's going to be bad. And guess what? Everybody else there is bad too.
Yeah, everybody had to start at the same place. And by no means we're not expert golfers. I think me and Josh are good enough where we could probably play like a decent amount of really good courses and do pretty fine, not fine score-wise, but like we're not going to be holding up traffic or anything like that. Like we're decent enough, but it takes a while to get that point. But that anxiety thing, I think it's very like it's a very big thing. Every time anybody goes to their first course and like does that, like it's going to be in the back of your mind. If you duff your first shot, then like, hey man, it's fine. Everybody's been there before. The pros always even shank shots. Sometimes it happens.
I actually took a couple women that I work with they started golfing and they wanted to actually go out on a course. So I took them to Swansea, and I like tell the ranger that's there for the at the first hole that's keeping pace and all that stuff. I tell them, hey, these girls are new. Like, I just want you to know, like, I'm going to keep them moving along. They're very new, but they want to get into golf. And he was like, oh, yeah, no problem. And then, like, it was not great. Like, it was just a lot of bad shots. And they were already nervous as it was. And they're, like, probably both at least 6, 7, 8 shots in on a par 3. And then he finally drives down, and he's like, no, you guys got to keep it moving. And I'm like, I know, I'm sorry. We're going to play best ball from here on out. Yeah. Don't worry. We'll be good. And once they got out of there, like, to the second and third hole, like, it was, like, the anxiety was kind of gone. Because I told them, hey, we do have to keep moving, but, like, we also paid. We also paid to play here. We got to keep everybody else behind us up to their time and stuff like that. So this is how we'll do it. And once we got going from there, they got better as they went along, but that's because they got more comfortable. Yeah, anxiety started
settling
going.
in. It's amazing. Like in golf, like most of the best scores, I know like Josh probably would attest to the same thing, but the most of the time you have your best scores when you're literally not thinking about anything. Yeah. You're just letting it happen. Yeah. You're not thinking about your score, which is really difficult when, I mean, no matter your handicap or whatever, but when you're finally you're doing really well, it's incredibly difficult to not think about how well you're doing and continue to play well. Because you'll be like, oh shit, I'm 5 under normal from where I'd usually be here.
Yeah. That's why I'm out there. That's why I'm out there every time we go out making dick jokes. Because I can't. I need to break some of that like tension. Yeah, of thinking about my score and how poorly I'm playing. So like that's why I'm out there joking around and whatever, trying to make you guys walk off the tee and stuff like that. Because it's like.
So if you ever play with Josh, he just is constantly. I think he made me laugh and like fuck up a shot like at least 4 or 5 times today.
It happens. Yeah, that's my goal.
Just right in the downswing.
We let you drop it. We let you play it again.
You have great time. I mean, I don't always play it again. Usually I do, but it's funny.
But that's because for me, like, I don't want to... If the more I'm doing that, the less I'm thinking about the score. And then the freer I can play, the more I can feel like, all right, I'm just out here playing the game. I'm not taking it super seriously. And at the same time, I know I'm being serious because we've talked about it before. I'm super competitive. So I know I'm being serious and I'm being competitive with myself and trying to get the best score I can on each hole. And yeah, I'll get pissed off once in a while at myself for a stupid shot or a stupid decision I made. But the camaraderie and making the jokes and just joking around and talking about different things, music, all that stuff, like it just takes away that tension of I'm not playing poorly. I mean, I'm not playing well. I need to do better on this hole. It's like, no, I'm out here playing. I'm playing with my friends. We're having a good time.
Yeah. And I mean, that's kind of the cool thing about golf too. Is that, I mean, obviously it's golf, but it's like, I mean, when else are you going to be with like 3 other people of your choice, and you're kind of just like hanging out and talking for 4 or 5 hours?
Right.
Like it's a really, and the other cool thing about golf courses is like you just see some beautiful nature and scenery. Like there obviously like people are familiar with probably like, maybe not obviously, because if you're not into golf you wouldn't watch them, but like Augusta, the Masters, a lot of these courses are just absolutely beautiful. Like the gardens and the botanical sort of stuff is just ridiculous.
See, like I'm telling you, we talked about this before. That's an appreciation that you have. I don't notice none of that stuff. I got bugs flying in my face. Like I'm trying to putt and I got a bug flying in my nose and pissing me off. But like you said, there's not very many opportunities that you have to just, unless you're like, well, you hike, so you go hiking and be outside for 4 or 5 hours with your friends, but like
that's not like golfing though.
Yeah, but besides that, like unless you're having people over your house for a cookout in your backyard or whatever, there is very minimal, especially in your adult life. Like there's very small opportunities to spend that time outside with your friends.
Oh, and it'll make you super close super quick, because you're just like, I feel like all of us now, it's like between me, you, Paul, and Tony, it's like you can talk about whatever now, because we've been golfing together. You've heard each other swear and say, frankly, cuss words and things like that and strings of words that you never thought other people would say, because you're just so incredibly frustrated sometimes.
Oh yeah.
I think there's like a line in the Christmas Story from way back where he talks about like how his father had such a string of cuss words that it was hanging above Lake Michigan or something in perpetuity. It's like, when there's probably a couple of those sort of strings of cuss words just hanging above certain golf courses we've been at, because the frustration sometimes is.
Oh yeah, I've seen a lot of clubs broken.
Yeah,
like a lot of clubs broken.
Clubs, balls thrown in the water, putters thrown in the water.
Yeah.
Things like that.
But it's like I said, it's you don't get that opportunity to very rarely, like I said, in your adult life do you have that opportunity to just spend with people. Like nobody's coming over to your house and just sitting in your living room for 4 or 5 hours to just what are you gonna do? You just talk about dicks and balls like we do on the golf course? No,
we do talk about other stuff.
Yeah,
there's a lot of innuendos and terminology in golf.
Yeah.
That opens itself up to certain jokes.
Yeah. Sexual jokes.
I'll leave it at that.
But yeah, so it doesn't happen that often. Like it's very rare, but to be able to do it on a weekly basis, especially with people that you enjoy being around. And the other thing is like the golf community, because I've been paired up with people like that.
Yeah, that's always funny, because I was going to say this earlier too when you're talking about sort of anxiety being a new golfer.
Yeah.
But the truth is, like, I think 99% of the golfers, I've been with golfers too at Lincoln Country Club when I belonged there in Rhode Island, and like played with guys that were like 6 or 7 handicap golfers, like almost scratch. Yeah. And most of them were like the nicest. That's the most right. Like courteous, like really just would help you out.
Right.
And you learn a lot from those guys, even though it's super intimidating when you play with a guy and you're like, oh, what'd you shoot today? And it's like a par 72, and he's like, I shot like a 73, and you're like, holy shit, like,
right.
It's kind of ridiculous. But some of the night, like, really, I feel like most of those people are receptive. There are, and I'm not gonna lie, there's some giant like dicks out there who just, or they'll be the guys like, oh, what do you don't know the rules, and like, but most golfers, I will say, once you get into it, and if they can tell that you're into it and you're not just out there drinking with your buddies and trying to get loaded on like a Saturday afternoon or whatever,
right.
Most of them are pretty receptive to teaching you the ropes and trying to really help you with your game, which is a really cool thing about golf.
That's kind of the point I'm trying to make is like you go out and get paired with people, and very rarely, and it's never happened to me, do you get somebody that's like a jerk or douchebag.
Yeah, rarely.
It's like it's people that they'll try. If you want the help, they'll tell you, oh, this is, sure. You set it up here. And if you don't want the help, they'll still tell you if you hit a good shot. Like
they'd be like, good shot. Like that's a big thing. Golf is just when someone hits a good shot, you tell them it's a good shot. Like
because there's very few of them, so it's nice to get that encouragement from somebody else that you don't know and you don't have that camaraderie with to tell you, hey, nice shot. Now it makes you feel a little bit better about yourself, and hey, it gets you through that round, and hopefully you remember that shot for the next time you want to go out.
It's a game where confidence goes a long way, but it's an awesome game. Figured we had to do due diligence to this sort of sport and stuff, since it was cool that we got to do it today and kind of talk about it immediately afterwards. It was super fresh in the mind.
There's a ton of podcasts now that only talk about golf and the things that they do out there and what it's like out there. We'll probably circle back again to golf at some point, but it was just a nice icebreaker for our season, because we are going to get going, and not that we're keeping track, but we do this a lot during this time of year, because guess what? We enjoy spending time with one another. We enjoy spending time with our friends that do come out.
we enjoy feeling bad about our golf game over and over and over and over again.
Yeah, and we'll talk about it. We'll commiserate about
but you talk about
beers.
Like, you'll be like, oh man, that was a great shot, and then you'll be like, oh, like remember how like me today? I'm like, remember you guys let me hit like 5 balls into the pond?
Yeah,
like I can only. I can only take a 7 because of my handicap, but I was like, oh man,
I told you to keep hitting them.
yeah, you're like, hit another one. You got this one. This one's gonna make it over for sure.
Yeah, none of them made it over. Shockingly,
no.
Shockingly,
I made a bogey on the next hole though, so that was good.
You played good.
Yeah.
What'd you shoot for the day?
Like a 101 or something.
Yeah. See, that's great. Like I played like garbage, and like it's still a fun day. Like we're still here talking about it, right? So
it was like 56-45 or something. It's always like the Jekyll and Hyde.
Yeah. And it was a beautiful day. Like the sun's out. Like I said, it's very rare.
Nice.
Very rare that you just get to spend time with your friends outside, unless you're hiking, unless you're doing some type of outdoor yard activity or something like that. It's very rare that each week you can go out with your buddies and go do this same thing and have fun and also be challenged and break a sweat while you're doing it. So it's fun for me, and if there is anybody out there that does want to get into it, please do. And if you have questions for us,
hit us up.
Yeah, reach out to us. Not that we're experts or anything, but
we can point you in the right direction, though, for sure.
Yeah, and the big thing I recommend to anybody, if there is anyone listening that does want to get into golf, they want to get into golf, and they want to know where to start, don't buy like these crazy expensive clubs.
No, by all means don't. And like again, it's one of those things like my father-in-law said, it's literally not the club you have, it's the golfer. Like, it's not. Having a great set of irons, especially the irons that pros play, literally like they're impossible to hit compared to like Paul had a set of Titleists that were just, they weren't like professional ones, but they were like, I think they were AP ones or whatever, and like those things were like incredibly hard to hit.
Yeah. Don't waste your money on expensive clubs. Doesn't matter what the brand is. Like if you got to go get used clubs, get used clubs. If you want to go get a cheap starter set from,
if you want to go with your buddy that just has clubs and use his, like by all means, I think we've all done that too.
Yeah, and just go out and try it. If you're thinking about getting into it, just try it and see if it's for you. Find a buddy that does it, or find somebody that also wants to get into it and get into it with one of your other buddies, because I'm telling you, it is fun. We don't go out there every week and be miserable. Like, we go out there, we enjoy ourselves, we shoot well and get better and better and better every time we play. Like, and we're not playing every single day. It's maybe once a week. Nick might play more. He's right here next to the golf course, but it's still very enjoyable for us. And I think if there is people that want that opportunity, like, go out and try it. Give it a shot. Don't blow your whole paycheck on some clubs and balls and things like that. Get recycled balls, used balls or whatever. Get used clubs or a starter set of clubs. Get a cheap polo shirt and some khaki pants. And go out there and let it rip.
Yeah, exactly. And another thing I've never done with you that's also close to my house is fishing for trout.
Yeah, I don't fish anymore.
Why don't you fish anymore? I'm curious to hear this. Hear this story, man.
It was actually when I was in Boy Scouts. It was a terrible experience in Boy Scouts.
What's the most worst experience that could possibly happen with a fish that you never want to fish again?
It was a fishing derby. So we had a fishing derby, and it's like, I don't know. You just go out there and try to see who can catch the most fish. Like all the troops or whatever in the area go see who can catch the most fish. But it rained the entire time.
Yeah,
so
that'll put a damper on it.
Right, I'm trying to catch fish in the rain, which already sucks. I hate being in the rain. I hate being wet. So I'm out there trying to catch fish, getting hooks caught all on me. And then, when we wake up, like, you're cold all night, you're cold all morning, sucks. You're sleeping in a tent. with some stinky ass kid that you don't want to be around.
And you're also a stinky ass kid.
Yeah, you're also a stinky ass kid. And then, like, so they're cooking breakfast, and they're like, somebody's cooking bacon on like in a pan on like a fire, and then the bacon's undercooked, and you eat it, and then I get like bad diarrhea.
How do you undercook bacon?
They just undercooked it. It was like rubber, dude. And I'm like, whatever, 12. I don't know.
Yeah, so you didn't know if it wasn't undercooked.
Yeah, I don't know. It's bacon, and I was a very fat child. So, yeah, get it on my plate, get it in my belly. But the thing was, now I got bad diarrhea, it's raining, and I got to catch a bunch of fish. And guess what? I'm not having any fun. So, I'm shitting all over the place. I'm not catching any fish because it's freaking raining. And then, like, I also have to sleep in this tent with Stinky Ed. Or whoever I was sleeping next to, and it stunk. It stunk in there. I'm shitting everywhere. I'm freezing cold. Not catching no fish. So after that day, I don't think I've ever fished again. Like, I liked fishing too. Like,
I can see why your experience was tainted.
Yeah, taint, sure. Dude. There was diarrhea all over my taint. It was gross. It was nasty, dude. And it's not like, so if you ever been to like a Boy Scout like I don't know what you call it, like compound, I guess, or whatever. Yeah, encampment. Yeah, it's not like this is just some regular toilet, like a nice. It's like gross, like Woods toilets, or you got to dig your own hole and just spew yourself into the toilet. So it's like just nasty. It was just gross, like, and like I said, so I did not have a good time. I have not fished ever since. It's not something that.
Well, it might be worth trying it again though, because
I would try it again. But, like, I also forgot everything that went into fishing. Like, I forgot all the knots and all that bullshit and what poles you got to use for what. And, like, listen, I just completely forgot it because I didn't want to remember that terrible, terrible experience I had fishing in the rain.
Oh, man.
But you did some fishing.
I feel so sad for you now.
Listen,
that rant.
Don't feel sad.
When you said I spewed.
I'm doing fine without fishing.
I think you got me when you said I spewed myself out.
Spewed it everywhere. It was gross. It was nasty, dude. But don't feel sad for me because I've made it very far in my life without fishing. I'm doing just fine. But
I mean, it's not a necessity. It's not like I'm fishing for food. But yeah, one of the rivers near here, they stock, and I was getting out last week and then pretty much this week, and kind of went to a pond one of these weeknights with my buddy Wilkie. Pretty much brook trout, brown trout, rainbow trout, Massachusetts stocks around here kind of throughout the spring, but just a good pastime. It's something I got into during COVID again. My dad did it a bunch, kind of reliving the stuff there and just kind of getting back into it again. But it's a lot of fun. It's very gratifying to me and it's super peaceful. Again, it reminds me a little bit of hiking.
I'm sure it does.
It all comes back to hiking.
No way! Does it? Oh!
Yeah. Or golfing in certain ways, but it's just kind of being out there and just chilling and kind
of. You guys had like didn't you guys like each year like keep a count and?
Yeah, I do. We used to do a sort of a trout count, we would call it, or sort of a trout trophy sort of race. But yeah, like between me and my uncles, and now it's me and my uncle Ken do it. But yeah, we keep tallies on how many trout we get, and sort of the victor gets sort of a trophy at the end of the year. So,
oh boy,
man, my uncle Ken kicked my ass last year. He got like, I think I ended up with like 40 something, and he got like I think over 50.
Yeah.
I know it was a pretty big disparity compared. I won the year before, so I knew it was going to come back for me and kind of be victorious. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. They're super pretty fish. Really cool that Massachusetts does that. I'm a big fan of sort of their program and sort of how they stock different rivers and stuff to try to actually restore populations and whatnot. It's really neat.
But so like so you heard what got me out of fishing. What got you into fishing?
I think so I grew up fishing with my dad a lot. Ice fished, like he was in everything. He used to go fishing for stripers kind of in East Providence and whatnot. So it's been something I've kind of always done every couple of years, I guess, growing up. Kind of with my dad's hobbies and what he was into at the time. Probably not dissimilar to how I am. But yeah, kind of got into it again during COVID, and it's just it's something I really enjoyed doing. Ice fishing's super cool. This winter in New England again, like we've said, back to the weather again.
Yeah,
was crazy. It never really got safe around here to actually go ice fishing, but ice fishing I super enjoy too. It's really fun. It's always a good time.
This is what I mean when I say we grew up differently. Like, yeah, my dad took me fishing like once or twice or whatever, but like it was a lot of it was a lot of sports when I was growing up.
Yeah.
Like, it was a lot of...
Yeah, I didn't do as many sports. That's the thing.
Yeah.
I did soccer, but that was really it.
Yeah, it was a lot of basketball practice, baseball practice, whatever. And then there was a lot of TV time and snacks. So that's what I mean. Like,
I did a good amount of that too.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I've been to your parents' house. That TV is tiny. Big Randy was putting those big old TVs on the wall. But yeah, it's funny, like, knowing that, like, how different we grew up, and like the things that we find as hobbies and we find as like interesting are, like, once again, completely different. Like, you enjoy trout fishing. I enjoy watching freaking Hunter x Hunter in my underwear in my bed on Netflix. Like, that's how I spend my Friday night.
Depends, man.
But yeah, it's I find that very interesting. I guess that's psychology, but I'm not opposed to fishing. But I'll
have to get you out again. I promise. Yeah. I promise I won't give you raw bacon and make you spew yourself out into whether it's a hole in the ground or a wooden toilet or anywhere else. I'll try my best not to feed you raw bacon.
And the thing is too, like, I wanna obviously, like, like I said, I would go out with my dad every once in a while, like a handful of times, to go fishing. So it's something that I've done, like, and it'd be nice to, like, pass down to my son, and you'd be able to pass down to your daughter.
Yeah, it's a cool hobby. There's things like learning how to tie knots and stuff that I just remember. It's like ingrained in my head now because I've done it so many times, and it's kind of funny how, like, I'm like, yeah, this is how you do it. And
yeah, see, that's the other thing. Like I've done weird random stuff. Like, I did sailing camp one year. Actually, like, a couple of years.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so
we have to get into this story.
Yeah, no, you don't want to get into me. Yeah, sailing camp was no good. We'll get into that other time.
We'll sail that for... We'll sail that.
That ship will sail on another episode because that ship is not sailing right now. But it's funny because, you would never know. You would never know that I did all that random stuff.
Josh was a sailor.
I was a sailor. Little sailor Josh. But yeah, it's... I will. I'll definitely go with you. I'll definitely go with you one day. Go do some trout fishing. Once I move closer to you, because this drive is like...
Yeah, it's getting...
Yeah, it's like 45 minutes at least to get here. But I'll still get here because you're my buddy.
Yeah.
But yeah. So what's your count up to right now?
I'm up to 9. So pretty
What's your uncle at?
He's at 4 right now.
Okay.
But I suspect he's gonna reply to me at some point and be like, "Oh yeah, I'm up to like 15 or something."
Oh, you gotta get it to an average though, like for how many times you actually go out and to how many.
Yeah, but it's tough to say though, because like sometimes you go out and like you'll get, like, I went out like on Thursday night with Wilkie and I got like 4.
Yeah.
In like a couple hours. It depends if they're biting. It depends what you're using.
Right.
There's a multitude of factors that. I mean, I went to the river near here a few times and probably spent 2 or 3 hours and didn't catch anything but a giant sucker fish.
Yeah.
That I was afraid to pick up because it had giant sucker lips on it. I was like,
Ooh.
It's like...
Nice.
No, I was like, I'm just going to try to throw it back and cut the line instead.
Did Wilkie catch any?
No, he didn't, unfortunately.
Poor guy.
Yeah.
That's the other thing. I don't want to just go there and not catch anything.
Yeah, it's part of fishing.
Like,
that's why they call it fishing and not catching, Josh.
You never had to fish in the Buttonwood Park Pond, so you don't know what it's like.
I didn't know there was a pond there.
Oh, yeah. Well,
was it 2 feet deep?
They say it's a pond, but hey.
Some people call it the Buttonwood Puddle.
Yeah, it's gross. It's gross. And that's where we would fish when we were kids. Like, and it was nasty. It was nasty.
Some like 10 sunfish still struggling to live.
I don't think there was any fish in there. I think it was just something like, you kids go fish in that pond, and I'll be back in 2 hours to come pick you up. All right, Dad. Here's a package of hot dogs. You can use that as bait. You got it, dude.
Velveeta cheese.
Yeah. And it's just like, you never catch anything. I think actually my brother caught something like one time as we're leaving. Like, he's like walking back to the shore with his line in.
Except it was actually a squirrel.
Yeah, it was a dead body. It was a dead body in the bottom of the Buttonwood Park Pond. They just found one over there, actually.
That's
gross.
That's creepy, man.
Things are getting weird. But yeah, fishing, I'm definitely down for some. I told you, I'm down for whatever.
Yeah, I know.
It's just not my passion, because my passion is being a lazy piece of shit. To be honest with you, that is my passion. I'm the best at that. But no, I'm down for some trout fishing, whenever you want to go, man.
Cool, man. Well, I think we're going to go into the descent.
Let's get into the descent.
So how about them Celtics?
Oh boy, playoff basketball time. I'm interested to see. I'm not worried about the roster. Like, I think the Celtics team has enough to win, but I'm interested to see the coaching because Ime Udoka is not there anymore, and this new guy like Joe Mazzulla, like, it's just I don't know. The jury's still out on whether or not he's actually a good coach or he just kind of came into a very well put together roster. And that's credit to Brad Stevens for putting together this roster. But I'm interested to see how he coaches and deals with rotations and moving these guys in and out based off of matchups and things like that. I'm interested to see that. But I don't know. I think last year was their year. Like, that was their best.
Yeah, I think they're past.
Yeah, that was their best chance to win it. Listen, they have a chance to win it for sure. I'll be pumped. Like, I'm not counting them out by any means.
You're a big fan too. Yeah, so if you think they still have a chance, and you get a pretty good mind for basketball. So
yeah, I love the Celtics. Like, I watched them since the Uri Welsh, Vin Baker, like Tony Battie, like Antoine Walker before Paul Pierce days. Like, I've been watching them for a long time. It's just, I don't know. We got that championship in 2008, and we kind of just been resting on that for a while. Yeah. So it'd be nice to see another one.
That was quite a while ago at this point. So
no kidding. So hopefully they'll pull one out this year, but I'm not too sure. I'll have to watch to see how these playoffs shake out, and then we'll get back on it. We'll circle back to this one at some point.
All right, man. Well, I think it's been another solid episode of the PUDs Podcast.
Yeah. So you guys can follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook at PUDs Podcast.
And any of the social medias.
Any social media, we're on. We're at PUDs Podcast. You can find us if you want to email us. If you do want to get at me for the dogs,
yeah,
you can email me.
Or our golf comments or anything else we said today.
Or if you have any questions for us, anything you want us to talk about, you can find
opinions on the Celtics playoffs run.
Yeah, give me those. We can talk. Yeah. I can banter. I'll banter back and forth with anybody. But so we're at pudspod at outlook.com if you want to email us anything. And please do. Like, we share a ton of stuff. Check us out on Instagram, check us out on Twitter, check us out on Facebook. We share a lot of different things on there. We've shared videos, we've shared clips from our podcast, we've shared pictures of different things. Nick shared pictures of his hikes. I've shared pictures of the Retro Expo and things like that. So, like I said, we covered a lot of different things from what we're interested in. So it's there's a lot of good stuff on there. So please check us out. If you do listen to this and you enjoy it, please give us a rate, review, subscribe. And share it with your friends. Tell somebody else. Let somebody else know about the fun that we're having here.
Absolutely. All right. Well, till next time, y'all.
Bippity boppity. Give me the zoppity.
Bye. PUDs Podcast was produced and recorded in Black Cat Studios by the Pud Boys. Find us on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. If you enjoyed, please consider leaving us a review and subscribing. Find us on social media, and we'll see you next time.